At Intellectual Apps, we have helped lots of organizations develop their app, right from when it's just a concept all the way to it becomes an app that delivers value to their users. But one question all these clients ask us, whether they're in health, whether they're in finance, or whatever, they always want to know, how much will it cost to build my app? Now, we are able to give, estimates or guesstimates at best at the start to say, okay, this is how much we think is going to cost to build your app based on what you want to create, based on what you want to deliver. But that's not really, the best question to ask. The best question to ask is, how do I not lose money in the process of building my app? Because it's the process of building the app that you get to discover so many things. And if you don't manage that process well, that's where you actually lose money. So today I'm going to explain to you how we at Intellectual Apps help these organizations build their apps without losing money. But before I do that, you need to have this picture in your head. I want to paint this picture for you to understand, how the tips I'm giving help us to reduce cost while building the app. So one of the things you need to know is the end goal for anyone that wants to build an app is to have an app that delivers value to its users, right? Most times you're not sure what that value is until you get the app in the hands of users and you get feedback. So people usually start out with a list of things they want to have in their app, a list of things they want their app to do, right? And then what we do is we take this list, we take these ideas, push it through our app development process. And in the end, we have an app that has these features and these functionalities that we believe will deliver value to the user, right? So three key things: a list of everything that list of everything that the client wants built on one end, and then a functional app on the other that delivers value to the user. And a process that takes the list of things that you want built, the requirements, and transforms that into features and functionality in an app. So with that picture painted, here are the 4 ways we help our clients not lose money in the process of building the app. Now, the first thing is to make sure that you start small. Think big, but when it's time to execute and build your app, start with a small set of features. Start with a small list of requirements. So you could have 50 things you want built into the app, but for your MVP, the minimum viable product, start with a small list. So we always encourage our clients to list out everything they want done, prioritize what they want done, but only start with a small set of these features, and this gets into the minimum viable product, the MVP. Right? So the first thing is start small. Now, the second point is make feedback your goal. Remember, when you start with a list of things you want built, you don't know if it's going to create value for the end user. And the only way you'll be able to tell if it's creating value is when you get feedback from the user. Now, you can't get feedback from the user unless you build something into an app and put it in the user's hands. So your app development process or your goals for your app should not be to build out everything you have in your list, but start with a small set, like I mentioned in the first point. And then the second point is to make sure that the goal for what you're building is to get feedback from the users. The quicker you get feedback, the faster you can iterate and adjust, and the better you deliver value in the hands of your users. Now, the third tip, which we share with our clients in order for them not to lose money in building their app, is don't rush the process. So you have a list of requirements, you have a functional app, which is your goal to achieve. In between is the app development process that looks at these things you want to build, passes it through, the development cycles, and then on the other end, you have the app popping out. Now, in as much as, people want their apps to be built as fast as possible, try and not be in a hurry, because if you rush the app development process, you're only going to create problems for yourself in the future. And this will be big problems, and this will eventually slow you down. So when you rush the process, you get the feeling or the impression that yes, you're building your app quickly, but after a certain period of time, you realize it becomes harder and harder to add features. At some point, the whole thing just crumbles. So the third tip is don't be in a hurry. Don't rush the development process. Identify what you need to build. Let it pass through every single quality assurance step through the whole development process, and you have the feature at the other end, because you don't want to incur what we call technical debt, which is trying to do things quick now and cut corners technically, but would come back to bite you later on. So don't rush the process. That's the third tip. Now, the fourth tip is avoid changing your mind. Remember, you want to build an app, you have a list of things. Right? This list of things, your requirements, is what you've decided to build or what you think you need to build. Now, once the subset of features have been identified, and this is going to be the features you have in your MVP, you need to, as much as possible, avoid changing your mind. Because if you change your mind, it's like you've taken all these requirements and thrown them away, and whatever you spent in the process of building those particular requirements into the features and functionality in the app is lost, right? So you really need to be thoughtful and you need to be careful not to change your mind, especially just for the sake of changing your mind. It's okay to change your mind and pivot if you have feedback from your users. If the feedback you're getting from your users is suggesting that what you're working on is not the best set of features, then that's okay for you to change your mind. There is reason to do that, because even if you build the app with the wrong set of features, your users will not use it, right? So avoid changing your mind just for the sake of changing your mind. You're not trying to test, how well, development team or the company is at building things. What you want is to deliver value to the end user. So identify what you need to build and see it through, right? See it through and get high quality feedback from the end users. So in conclusion, these are the 4 things we advise our clients, we advise people who build apps for, that goes beyond just knowing how much it's going to cost to build an app at the beginning. The real danger is the process of building the app is where you lose a lot of money. So you may start with an estimate, a cost, a budget, but then find out that you end up, overshooting your budget and even taking a longer time. So these 4 tips are: make sure you start small, start with a subset. Don't try and build everything at once. Start with a small subset. Make feedback your goal. That is, build a subset of everything you want to do into the app that has functions and functionality, that has functions and features that the users would use, and get feedback. So get feedback as the second goal. The third one is don't rush the process. Allow the developers to build out the app. It's important to move fast, but you need a very good balance. You don't want to move too fast and break things, and you don't want to be too slow and lose out, in the market. So don't rush it. Let it take its course. Make sure you don't cut corners. Make sure you don't incur any technical debt. And the last point is avoid changing your mind. Don't change your mind for the sake of changing your mind. Only change your mind when you have quality feedback from users that tell you, okay, this is the direction you should take, and this is where you should go. Only then do you change your mind. Don't change your mind for the sake of changing your mind, because if you change your mind, it means all the costs and time and effort that has gone into building what you have up to that point is lost, like starting over again. So I hope with these points, you are able to see how we help people save costs in building their app. And if you're thinking of building an app, you can reach out to us and let's talk.